What's going on YouTube? So for this project right here, I am converting my main website into a Angular singular page application. So basically what that is that whenever I navigate to any hyperlink within the page, it actually, instead of reloading the whole page, it will just load up the segments that I need to load. For example, if I were to visit this post, instead of loading up everything else outside of the page, it will just load up the data that it needs to get for this page. So if you look into more details, so you can see that it gets a post object back, and it has all the information about the posts that is needed. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this project was because I want to experiment with what Google and Angular, how they interact with each other. So it's coming to my attention that Google does not accept AJAX data. Google does not accept content that's being loaded through AJAX requests. So I'm trying to put that through the test by actually making the whole application a Angular application. And as you can see, all the content is being loaded through Angular requests. So this is kind of the website as it is right now. Granted, it's not finalized, there is a few bugs here and there, there's still a few slowdowns here and there. I will go through outside of this video and actually fine-tune it more. And this is just the website and a quick TLDR version of it. Alright, so we'll actually go through the code real quick too. I'm not going to bore you all without the details, and as usual I always upload all my code onto my GitHub repo. So if you want to go into depth and look at the code, you can always go to my GitHub repo and take a look at the code. And as usual, I will definitely include the GitHub repo link in the description. So the first part of this application is that it's actually divided into 3 different sections. One is the Angular portion, which we have this app.js for. This is actually the code that will handle all the Angular, obviously. The second part we have is the templates, which are all over here. This is what Angular is going to use to map the data that is fetched from the backend to the template. You can go through the app.js, look at the route, and look at each of the controllers and see how that is working. And then the other part is the restful service. So if you're not aware, the later version of WordPress allows for more of a restful design, meaning that you can set up a restful service, and then that restful service can have various different endpoints, and what each of the endpoints can do is provide you with data. So this is what I'm using for my application. So there is as I was saying, this is 3 sections. So Angular is in a sense the controller, the restful service is the model, it houses all the data, and the template is the views. So this is kind of the code in a nutshell. So as usual, I'm going to upload all my code to the GitHub profile for you to take a look. And so yeah, so I'm just giving you guys a heads up, okay? So just kind of take a look into it, so how this kind of works. Like I said, I'm going very light overview. I'm not going to go complete details. If you want to see the complete details, please go to the GitHub repo, okay? So to start it off, we have this REST API in it. This is what WordPress uses to know that you're trying to register a new endpoint. So this actually loads up the RESTful service to register the route. So if you go to RESTful service and we see register routes, basically what this does is just say, hey, all the endpoints I'm going to use for this application, go ahead and register your endpoints, okay? So if you go to one of the endpoints, for example, let's look at the YouTube endpoint. You see that it has to use the function register REST route, and it has a namespace and the endpoint that's going to use. So with how this looks, so how these 2 data combine, how that look like is this. Let me bring it up real quick. Alright, so open this in a new tab. So you can see WP-JSON is the WordPress endpoint for the RESTful API. This data v1 is actually coming from the RESTful service right here. That's this data v1. And the endpoint videos is actually the endpoint that I register for the YouTube service, the YouTube endpoint, sorry, with this videos right here. Obviously you can have multiple endpoints. For example, in the post I have post, in post, so you have free range on how you want to register your endpoints. Okay. There is a few already registered endpoints for the default WordPress application, so you may want to look at the documentation to see which endpoints are already registered. Okay. Alright, so that is how that works. That's the registering part. So basically, when a request is made to those endpoints, you just tell it what the return type is. It accepts array, it accepts objects, and accepts nulls, for example. So this one right here returns back an array of posts that are found. Or I have one down here where it will return a standard class. Actually, I should switch that over to the post object. I have another, for example, like in terms right here, right? I have it return back a term object. This is using PHP 7.2, so the question mark means that it will either return a null or an object. So you can see in here that if the term doesn't exist, return a null. Okay. Let's see. So that's the RESTful service in the TLDR version. Let's go into the API. Let's go into the Angular in the TLDR version. So as you can see, we configure our routes here. Basically, these are all the various different WordPress URLs. Please note that preview and search are not the typical WordPress endpoints. These is actually when you do a search. For example, let me go to the browser. If you were to search, for example, YouTube, it actually would convert the URL from, instead of being question marks s equals to the search term, it actually appends it appends search in front of it, and that way the Angular knows that that's actually you're searching for something. The reason when I did it like that is because you cannot, when you use a route, you cannot see the get parameters, or you cannot see the request parameters. So that's why. And if you want to do something based off the get variables or the request parameters, you will have to do something like this right here. So on route change start, basically what you'll do is get the request parameters, and then you will just rewrite the URLs from there. So you can see that I look for the certain particular request parameters. If they're presented, we will change the URL to something else, and the return false meaning is prevent the default action. Okay, and then that's how it will redo the URLs, rebuild the URLs, and perform the action, the desired action. Okay, so then yeah, so that is that. So that is how the route works. So the way that this website is set up, the page controller is the parent controller. Inside of here we have a few variables I'm going to use throughout the application, so that I don't have to request the data over and over and over again. For example, like posts, for example, let me show you that real quick. So let's go to the home page. Let's go to this let me clear this out. Let's go to posts. We see we requested data for the post right here. Let's go back. Let's request it again. It doesn't request it again. It's only requested that one time. Because you already visited before, it actually cached it in the parent controller. Alright. So that's that. Let's go back to here. And then so these are like all those also functions that are going to use various different functions I'm going to use in the child controllers. So for example, let's go to the post one real quick. So that's article. So when we first load up the article, it will do a request to the parent to get the full article, and it passes off the arguments right here. So yes, this is how you could call explicitly the parent version of the function right here. And then basically in the callback, just take the post and just map the return post to the scope post. Okay. So yes. And yeah, and then that's kind of the application in a nutshell. I will include a link to the GitHub repo in the description. And yeah, if you have any questions, please leave me comments. Please go through the full code, and so you can see what I did and see what will work or what you can copy over to your own application. And yeah, until then, enjoy your day and see you next time. Bye bye.